Avinash and Chandrika seemed like an ordinary couple, but behind closed doors, they lured victims, vanished them without a trace, and turned their home into a house of horrors. How did no one see it coming? Avinash and Chandrika appeared to be an ordinary married couple living a quiet life in a growing Indian town. Avinash earned money by taking small electrical contracts, moving from house to house, fixing wires, and installing appliances. Chandrika stayed indoors most of the time, managing online work that no one clearly understood. To outsiders, they seemed simple, hardworking, and harmless. They spoke politely, paid rent on time, and never caused trouble. This normal image helped them blend in perfectly. They had moved into the neighborhood only a year earlier, choosing a house slightly away from the crowded streets. The location gave them privacy, which they claimed was necessary for peace. Curtains remained closed even during the day, and lights were often switched on at odd hours. Neighbors noticed these habits but assumed the couple preferred solitude. In a country where people mind their own business, questions were rarely asked. Avinash was known for his quiet nature. He avoided long conversations and kept his head down while working. Chandrika, on the other hand, appeared calm but distant. She rarely interacted with anyone nearby and often ignored friendly greetings. Her phone was always in her hand, and she spent long nights awake, typing and scrolling. It looked like dedication to work, nothing more. Their marriage seemed stable, almost emotionless. There were no loud arguments, no public displays of affection, and no visitors. This silence felt unusual, but not alarming. What no one realized was that this controlled, lifeless routine was the foundation of something far more disturbing. Beneath their normal appearance, a hidden plan was slowly forming, waiting for the right moment to unfold. The house Avinash and Chandrika lived in slowly became the center of their secret world. From the outside, it looked like any other rented home, slightly worn and unremarkable. Inside, however, changes were made carefully and over time. Avinash installed extra locks on doors that did not need them and reinforced certain walls under the excuse of electrical work. He also added thick curtains and foam panels, claiming they reduced heat and noise. These small adjustments went unnoticed but served a darker purpose. Some rooms were always kept locked, even during the day. Chandrika insisted on cleaning those rooms herself and never allowed anyone inside, including the landlord. When inspections were required, she redirected attention to the front of the house, keeping conversations short and controlled. The locked rooms became places no one questioned, simply because nothing unusual was visible from outside. Late-night deliveries started becoming common. Unmarked parcels arrived after midnight, and Chandrika personally received them. She stored the contents immediately, disposing of the packaging far from the house. Neighbors occasionally noticed strange chemical smells drifting through the air, sharp and unpleasant. Avinash explained it away as materials used in electrical repairs. His calm explanations stopped curiosity before it could grow. The couple also changed their daily routine. They avoided daytime visitors and preferred activity after dark. Lights switched on and off at unusual hours, and power tools were sometimes heard late at night. These sounds blended into the background noise of the town. What no one understood was that the house was no longer just a place to live. It had been quietly transformed into a controlled environment, designed to hide actions that were never meant to be seen. Chandrika's real work did not happen inside the house, but on the screen of her phone and laptop. She created multiple online identities, each carefully designed to appear trustworthy and normal. Some profiles showed a kind employer, others a helpful friend, and a few appeared as successful women offering guidance and support. She studied human behavior closely, learning what words created comfort and what promises created hope. Every message was written with patience and purpose. She searched for people who looked vulnerable, those struggling financially, those new to the city, and those who shared posts about loneliness quickly caught her attention. Chandrika never rushed the process. She spent days, sometimes weeks, slowly building trust. She remembered small details, responded at the right time, and never pushed too hard. This made her seem genuine and safe. Once confidence was established, she introduced opportunities that sounded believable. Short-term jobs, temporary accommodation, or private assistance were offered. Nothing felt risky. The victims believed they were making a smart decision. Chandrika carefully avoided any signs that could raise suspicion. She shared fake documents, edited photos, and staged online proof to strengthen her lies. Avinash stayed out of these online interactions, but he played an important role. He helped create the technical setup, secured digital storage, and ensured all accounts remained hidden. Their teamwork was silent and efficient. Each step was planned to leave no trail behind. When the final invitation was sent, it always sounded casual and harmless. A simple meeting, a quick visit, or a chance to talk in person. By the time someone agreed to come, their trust was already sealed. What they didn't know was that the moment they accepted, their fate was quietly decided. The first disappearance did not cause any alarm. In a country where people often move without notice, one missing person rarely draws attention. The individual had traveled to the city for work, and their phone was switched off soon after arrival. Family members assumed poor network coverage or a busy schedule. Days passed, then weeks, and silence slowly turned into worry. Still, no clear answers emerged. As time went on, more people vanished under similar circumstances. Each had arrived alone, carrying little more than hope and a small bag. None of them were seen leaving the neighborhood. Avinash carefully timed arrivals so no one would notice unfamiliar faces. Chandrika ensured all meetings happened late in the evening or during heavy rain, when streets were empty and eyes were indoors. Personal items were handled with extreme care. Phones were destroyed, documents were burned, and clothing was discarded far from the house. Avinash used his knowledge of wiring and tools to avoid leaving traces behind. Chandrika erased digital footprints, deleting conversations and disabling accounts as soon as they were no longer needed. Their efficiency made the disappearances feel random and unconnected. Missing person reports began appearing in different police stations across nearby districts. The cases seemed unrelated, coming from different backgrounds and locations. There was no obvious link, no shared address, and no common suspect. Officers filed reports, searched briefly, and moved on as leads went cold. Inside the house, life continued as usual. Lights turned on every night, meals were cooked, and routines were followed. To the outside world, Avinash and Chandrika remained invisible. But with every disappearance, their confidence grew. The absence of consequences convinced them that they were untouchable, and the line between caution and cruelty slowly disappeared. Over time, a pattern began to exist, even though it was not immediately visible. Each missing person had shared similar circumstances before vanishing. They were contacted online, promised short-term opportunities, and asked to meet privately. At first, these details seemed too common to matter. Thousands of people receive online offers every day. The danger was hidden in how carefully everything matched. Investigators reviewing separate cases noticed that many victims had deleted social media accounts shortly before disappearing. This raised quiet concern, but without clear evidence, the files remained inactive. Chandrika had ensured that digital traces were wiped clean, leaving behind only fragments that looked like personal choices rather than forced actions. Her planning was detailed and patient. Avinash's role became clearer later. He managed the physical environment with precision. No noise escaped the house. No signs of struggle reached outside. Every movement inside followed a routine that avoided mistakes. Tools were cleaned, spaces were rearranged, and nothing remained in one place for too long. This level of control showed preparation, not panic. What made the situation more disturbing was the emotional calm of the couple. There were no sudden changes in their behavior. They paid bills, greeted neighbors, and continued daily life without stress. This emotional distance allowed them to function without hesitation or fear. Slowly, a link formed between the online profiles used to contact victims. Subtle similarities in language, timing, and shared images caught the attention of a cyber analyst. The accounts were not identical, but they carried the same hidden signature. For the first time, the disappearances were no longer isolated events. A shadow connection existed, and although faint, it was enough to suggest something deeply organized was happening behind the scenes. The couple's motives went beyond control and fear. Money played a silent but powerful role in their crimes. Each victim brought not only trust but also personal belongings, bank access, and connections that could be exploited. Chandrika was meticulous in gathering financial information under the guise of helping or hiring them. Bank accounts, online wallets, and personal documents were quietly recorded and later accessed. Every transfer, every withdrawal, and every purchase was calculated to avoid immediate detection. Avinash handled the physical side of the operation. He collected valuables, electronics, and documents, ensuring they could not be traced back to the victims. Items were sold in small portions, through different channels, and often in distant towns, leaving no obvious trail. This methodical approach allowed the couple to sustain their secluded lifestyle and fund their increasing isolation. Each crime not only provided money, but also strengthened their sense of control and invincibility. As time went on, the couple's confidence grew. The more they succeeded, the bolder they became. They started targeting people with larger sums of money and valuable possessions, refining their selection process. Chandrika would research backgrounds, identify assets, and plan the approach with precision. Avinash would prepare the house and necessary tools, timing everything for maximum efficiency. The combination of planning, deception, and greed created a dangerous system that functioned like a well-oiled machine. Despite the crimes happening in their own home, life outside appeared normal. Neighbors still saw a quiet couple, paying rent and following routines. No one suspected that behind the locked doors, each disappearance was not random, but financially motivated. The mixture of careful manipulation and calculated profit made them far more dangerous than any impulsive criminal, and their twisted partnership thrived in the shadows. Their carefully constructed world began to unravel the night one victim managed to escape. It happened during a moment the couple thought was foolproof. The person had been held inside the house for hours, closely monitored, but a small lapse in Avinash's attention created an opportunity. The victim, desperate and terrified, found an unlocked window and slipped out into the rain-soaked streets, barefoot and bleeding. Panic and fear drove every step as they ran through narrow lanes, avoiding streetlights and hoping someone would notice. When they finally reached a nearby police station, the story spilled out in fragments, mentions of locked rooms, strange deliveries, and online contacts. At first, the officers were skeptical. Cases like this were rare, and details sounded almost unbelievable. But as more information was revealed, connections started emerging. The victim described the couple with alarming precision, providing details about the house, the locked rooms, and the strange nighttime routines. The police began checking missing person cases in the surrounding districts. Patterns became impossible to ignore. Several reports, previously thought to be isolated, aligned with the timeline of this escape. Avinash and Chandrika, who had believed themselves untouchable, were now on law enforcement's radar for the first time. Surveillance was quietly initiated, monitoring the couple without revealing knowledge of the full scale of their crimes. The escape forced the authorities to reassess the earlier disappearances. Investigators realized that what had seemed like unconnected incidents were in fact part of a carefully orchestrated system. Each victim, each vanished person, now fit into a chilling framework that the couple had built over months. For the first time, the balance of power shifted. Avinash and Chandrika's carefully hidden empire of manipulation and cruelty was being exposed, and the quiet neighborhood would never feel safe in the same way again. The day of the raid arrived quietly, almost like any other, but the house that had once seemed normal was about to reveal its darkest secrets. Authorities moved in at dawn, taking advantage of the early morning silence. Officers approached carefully, knowing the couple's intelligence and the potential danger inside. What they discovered shocked even the most experienced investigators. The front of the house appeared ordinary, with curtains drawn and a locked gate. But once the officers entered, the hidden complexity became apparent. Doors that had always seemed ordinary led to small, secret rooms. Inside, investigators found evidence of meticulous planning, lists of names, schedules of meetings, and detailed records of online contacts. Each page was a window into the cruel system Chandrika and Avinash had maintained, showing not only who had been targeted, but exactly how every move had been calculated. The smell that neighbors had occasionally noticed was now understood. Hidden containers held chemicals, carefully stored, along with tools used to erase traces of their victims. Clothes, personal items, and digital devices were organized in ways that suggested both efficiency and obsession. Everything was designed to leave minimal evidence. And yet, In their overconfidence, the couple had kept a detailed archive of their crimes. Avinash and Chandrika were found together, calm and silent, as if nothing unusual was happening. Their lack of visible emotion was more unsettling than aggression or panic. Handcuffed and taken away, they showed no resistance, only an eerie composure that hinted at how deeply intertwined they were in their shared cruelty. The raid exposed the true scale of their operation. What had once seemed like a quiet, isolated household was revealed to be a hub of manipulation, control, and deception. For the authorities, it was both a breakthrough and a warning. Evil can thrive in plain sight, hidden behind the mask of normalcy. After the raid, experts were brought in to analyze the twisted psychology of Avinash and Chandrika. From the start, it was clear that the couple operated in a uniquely dangerous partnership. Avinash showed complete emotional detachment. He appeared indifferent to the suffering he had caused, viewing actions purely as tasks to be executed. There was no remorse, no hesitation, only methodical planning and cold precision. Every step he had taken to conceal evidence, manipulate the environment, and enforce control reflected a mind trained to prioritize efficiency over morality. Chandrika, in contrast, displayed a chilling form of manipulation. Her talent lay in understanding human emotions and exploiting them for personal gain. She carefully observed reactions, studied vulnerabilities, and built trust only to destroy it. Unlike Avinash, she seemed to derive satisfaction from control itself, taking pleasure in psychological dominance. Her calculated charm and deceptive friendliness had been the perfect lure, making victims believe in safety while leading them to danger. Together, their personalities created a dangerous synergy. Where one lacked empathy, the other compensated with persuasion. Where one executed tasks with detachment, the other ensured victims were psychologically trapped before the physical act occurred. Experts concluded that their relationship reinforced each other's darkest tendencies. Neither could have functioned alone with the same level of efficiency. Together, they became almost unstoppable. The analysis also revealed a disturbing bond. Their shared guilt did not divide them, but bound them closer. The crimes became a mutual obsession, a perverse way to solidify loyalty and trust within the relationship. They thrived on secrecy and the adrenaline of undetected actions. This combination of cold calculation and manipulative psychology made them more terrifying than ordinary criminals, and it explained why their crimes had continued for so long without. The case of Avinash and Chandrika left a mark on the city and the country that would not fade easily. News of their crimes spread quickly, shocking families, neighbors, and authorities alike. People who had once felt safe behind closed doors began questioning the trustworthiness of strangers and even acquaintances. The couple's actions became a chilling reminder that evil often hides behind ordinary appearances, and that silence and privacy can sometimes mask the darkest intentions. Court proceedings revealed the full extent of their crimes. Each victim, each manipulated online account, and each meticulously hidden room was presented as evidence. Families received answers to questions that had haunted them for months, though the pain of loss could never be erased. The justice system, moving deliberately but firmly, sentenced Avinash and Chandrika to life imprisonment. Their freedom was gone, but the psychological scars they left on their victims and the community remained. The story also highlighted the dangers of online manipulation. People realized how easily trust can be exploited, especially when carefully built over time. Cybercrime experts and psychologists emphasized awareness and caution, warning others not to underestimate seemingly harmless interactions on social media. Educational campaigns began using this case to illustrate the need for vigilance, teaching people to question offers that seemed too good to be true and to report unusual activity immediately. Even years later, the house where the couple had committed their crimes remained a symbol of hidden darkness. Neighbors avoided the area, and the property was eventually demolished, leaving only memories and cautionary tales behind. Avinash and Chandrika's story continues to serve as a warning. Appearances can deceive, evil can thrive in silence, and the most twisted acts often hide behind the mask of normalcy. Their legacy is not just their crimes, but the lesson that vigilance and awareness are essential.